Dr. Ethan Cole tightened his grip on the small control panel of the landing pod as it descended through the thick violet clouds of Zithera. The planet was unlike anything he had ever seen. From space, it looked calm and quiet, a sphere of swirling colors and strange lights. But now, as he approached the surface, he could see the forests of glowing flora stretching endlessly. The trees shimmered with hues that humans did not have words for, and the air smelled faintly sweet, almost like honey mixed with ozone. Ethan's heart raced with excitement and anxiety. Humanity had sent him here as part of the first contact biological study. His job was simple in theory: observe, document, and learn about the Cytherians, the alien species that had broadcasted a message of peace and curiosity across the galaxy. In practice, he was venturing into the unknown, alone, armed only with his scientific knowledge and a small toolkit. The pod shuddered as it touched the ground. Ethan exhaled and activated the stabilizers. A soft hiss and the whirring of machinery echoed in the small cabin. Then, with a gentle thump, the pod rested on the moss-like surface. He stepped out carefully, taking a deep breath of the alien air. It was thin but breathable, tinged with a faint electrical charge that made the hairs on his arms stand up. The light of the setting sun, or what passed for a sun here, made the landscape glow with colors he could barely describe. "Ethan Cole," a soft voice said. He froze, scanning the area. A figure stepped out from behind a translucent tree. She was tall and slender, her skin shimmering in shades of blue and silver. Her eyes were large and golden, reflecting the glowing forest around them. She moved gracefully, her feet barely touching the ground, and yet she carried a presence that made Ethan's chest tighten. "I am Lyra," she said, her voice musical, almost like a song. "You are the human who has come to Zithera?" "Yes," Ethan replied carefully, trying to hide his nervousness. "I am Dr. Ethan Cole. I'm here to study your species and help if I can." Lyra tilted her head, observing him. "Help? Yes. Your kind is unusual, perhaps useful." Ethan blinked. He had read about the Zitherians before leaving Earth. They were highly advanced biologically and technologically, but what struck humans most was their fascination with human biology. Zitherians had complex reproductive systems that required precise external triggers. Humans, with their adaptability, were something they could not fully understand. Lyra stepped closer, her hand reaching out, but not threateningly. She stopped just short of him. "I wish to study you," she said simply. "To touch, to see how you respond." Ethan's stomach tightened. "Touch? How?" he asked, unsure whether she meant hands-on research or something else. She smiled faintly, her golden eyes studying him with interest. "Gently. I only wish to observe." Ethan nodded slowly, keeping calm. He had trained for unusual situations like this. "I understand." Lyra reached out and touched the small handheld device Ethan carried, a genetic scanner that monitored biological responses. The moment she made contact, the device reacted. Lights flashed, dials spun, and a soft hum filled the air. Ethan felt a strange pulse under his skin, a sensation he could not explain. He swallowed hard. It responds to your touch," he said, trying to sound calm. Lyra's eyes widened in fascination. "Why does it react like this? No other species, only you, human." Ethan realized that what she was observing was human biology at its most responsive, adaptable, resilient, and unique. I think it's just human," he said. "We are sensitive, maybe, but nothing unusual happens normally." Lyra shook her head. "Unusual, extraordinary. We must study more." Ethan felt a mixture of pride and caution. Pride, because humans really were remarkable. Caution, because he had no idea how much study she intended. They walked together toward a small structure in the distance. It seemed grown rather than built, like a tree that had been shaped by intelligence. Inside, glowing crystals lit the room, and strange devices hummed with life. Lyra gestured for him to sit. "Here, we can observe safely," she said. "We wish to see your abilities." Ethan took a deep breath. He had read the reports. Zetherians considered humans not just intelligent, but biologically adaptable in ways that could save or transform their species. He had to remain calm and professional, even as curiosity and fear swirled together. Lyra extended her hand again. "Touch. Only touch. Please." Ethan hesitated for a moment, then placed his hand near hers. The device in his pocket reacted again, humming softly, lights pulsing like a heartbeat. Lyra's expression changed. Her golden eyes widened in amazement. "Remarkable," she whispered. "Your species. It grows under touch, changes, responds." Ethan felt a flush of both pride and confusion. "It reacts?" "That's unusual for a human." Lyra leaned closer, her movements careful, almost reverent. "You are extraordinary. Perhaps you can help our people survive." Ethan realized the weight of her words. Zetheria was a beautiful, thriving planet, but their species was struggling. Their reproductive methods were complex and fragile. Humans, with their simple yet robust biology, could offer insight, maybe even a solution. Over the next hours, Ethan demonstrated his biology using the scanner and other simple experiments. Lyra observed every reaction, making careful notes in a crystal tablet. Ethan explained as best he could, using simple words and gestures. Despite the alien environment, he remained calm, professional, and patient. As evening fell, the forest outside glowed brighter. Ethan looked out through the translucent walls and saw the Zetherian world in all its wonder. It was a strange, alien beauty, but it felt oddly familiar, the way humans adapted to new worlds, learned, and survived. Lyra turned to him, her expression serious now. "You are more than we imagined. Perhaps your species can teach us something important, can teach us survival." Ethan nodded slowly. "That's why I'm here, to learn and to share. Humans, we adapt, we survive, we find ways to help." For the first time, he saw not just curiosity in Lyra's eyes, but respect. And in that moment, he understood something powerful. Humans were more than just another species in the galaxy. In situations of danger, challenge, or uncertainty, humans had a way of rising above, and even alien civilizations could see it. As night settled over Zithera, the glowing forest casting shadows that danced like spirits, Ethan realized the journey ahead would not just test science, but humanity itself. How would humans navigate alien curiosity, strange biology, and political intrigue? How would they show their value in a world so different from Earth? One thing was certain: humans were not weak, and they were not ordinary. And as Lyra studied him, recording every reaction, Ethan felt a quiet pride. Maybe, just maybe, humanity had a place in the stars, not just as visitors, but as beings whose resilience and adaptability could inspire life itself. And somewhere deep in his mind, a small, humorous thought flickered. "Well, apparently my biology is more interesting than I thought." He smiled faintly, shaking his head. The night on Zithera was long, filled with soft hums of alien devices and the rustling of glowing trees. Ethan sat in his new world, aware that tomorrow his humanity would be tested in ways he could not yet imagine. But for the first time, he also knew that humans, unlike anything Lyra had seen, had a spark that could not be ignored. The next morning, Zithera's twin suns rose over the glowing forests, painting the sky with shades of violet and gold. Ethan Cole stretched and rubbed his eyes, still adjusting to the alien light. Last night had been overwhelming. Touch-sensitive devices, glowing trees, and an alien scientist who seemed endlessly fascinated by him. But today, the work would begin in earnest. Lyra arrived at his quarters as soon as he opened the door. She floated in, her silvery blue skin glinting in the sunlight. "Good morning, human," she said, her voice melodic, like wind chimes in a breeze. "Are you ready?" Ethan nodded, adjusting the straps of his portable toolkit. "I think so. I just hope I understand enough of what you want to do." Lyra smiled faintly. "Do not worry. You only need to respond naturally. That is enough." They walked together to the observation chamber, a structure grown from crystalline organic material. Inside, devices hummed softly, and small pools of liquid reflected the glowing walls. Ethan noticed patterns in the walls that shifted like breathing, almost alive. He tried not to stare too long. It was hard not to be amazed. Lyra gestured for him to sit on a smooth, curved platform. "We will begin with simple contact," she explained. "We wish to observe your response to touch. Not only yours, but how your biology interacts with our devices." Ethan swallowed. "All right. Simple contact." He tried to keep his mind clear. He had trained for high-pressure situations, but nothing on Earth had prepared him for being a living experiment for an alien species. Lyra extended a hand and touched the small handheld genetic scanner Ethan carried. The moment her fingers brushed it, the device responded like a living organism. Lights flashed in a slow rhythm, and a low hum filled the chamber. Ethan felt a pulse beneath his skin, a tingling sensation that traveled through his arms and chest. It was strange, unfamiliar, but not painful. Lyra's golden eyes widened. "Incredible! Your species interacts, not passive, alive." Ethan frowned slightly. I guess that's just how humans are. Responsive. Adaptable." Lyra shook her head slowly, almost in disbelief. "No. Extraordinary. You are more than we imagined. Perhaps you can help us understand life itself." For hours, she repeated the tests, each time varying her touch or the device's settings. Ethan's biological responses were recorded, analyzed, and compared to Zytherian norms. With every touch, every reaction, the devices reacted in ways that even Lyra could not fully explain. "Why does it grow?" Lyra asked suddenly, pointing to the screen displaying the scanner's data. "No other being. This effect. Only human." Ethan blinked. "Grow? Well, I guess human biology is adaptive, responds to stimuli, not always predictable." Lyra leaned closer, her eyes scanning the readings. "Adaptive, yes, but your species responds with energy, life force, unusual. Powerful." Ethan felt a surge of pride. Humans were remarkable, not just strong, not just intelligent, but biologically unique in ways even advanced aliens could not predict. "That's what makes humans humans," he said. Lyra's expression softened. "Perhaps. Humans are the key to saving our species. Zytherians. Fragile. We need your biology as a guide." Ethan realized the weight of her words. Their species was in danger, their reproduction fragile, and humans could offer insight simply by existing, by showing the resilience and adaptability that were normal to them. "Can you teach me?" Lyra asked suddenly. "Teach how you survive? How you adapt?" Ethan smiled faintly. "That's what I'm here for. We learn by trying, by observing, by helping each other." The experiments continued through the day. Ethan demonstrated simple human physiological responses, heart rate changes, muscle responses, skin conductivity. Lyra documented everything, sometimes touching the devices or even his hands to see the reaction. Each time, the readings surprised her. Zetherian technology was advanced, but it had never accounted for the variability of human biology. Humans could adapt to environments, to stimuli, to stress, and even to alien biology in ways that defied prediction. Lyra watched Ethan carefully. You do not fear. You endure. You survive. Unlike other species, your reactions, balanced, calm, intelligent. Ethan chuckled nervously. Well, I've been trained for unusual situations, and I try to stay calm. It helps, especially when aliens are poking and prodding you all day. Lyra tilted her head. A gesture Ethan had learned was the Zetherian version of curiosity. You have humor, emotion, intelligence, combined, rare, perhaps unique. Yes, your species, exceptional. By midday, Ethan began to notice subtle changes in Lyra's behavior. She seemed more respectful, even cautious, as though she understood that humans were not just subjects, they were partners in discovery. Human, she said quietly, can you demonstrate control, influence, perhaps help our technology work with life? Ethan frowned. Control? Influence? I'm not sure what you mean. Lyra gestured to a device shaped like a crystalline orb. This does not respond normally, but your touch, it grows, reacts, interacts. Can you guide it? Teach it? Ethan hesitated. Then, with careful concentration, he placed his hands near the orb. Focusing on the energy he could feel pulsing from it. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, the orb's glow shifted. It brightened, then pulsed in rhythm with his heartbeat. Lyra's golden eyes widened in amazement. Incredible! You control life, not just respond, guide, human. Ethan felt a strange mix of pride and caution. I guess humans, we adapt. We learn quickly. We react intelligently. For the first time, Lyra seemed truly emotional, awed and respectful. Your species. Extraordinary. Perhaps you are the bridge we need. The day passed in a blur of experiments, observations, and strange alien devices reacting to human biology. Ethan noticed that the Zytherians watched him not with suspicion, but with curiosity, awe, and even trust. Humans, he realized, inspired respect, even across species. At night, they rested in a crystalline chamber that seemed grown from the forest itself. Ethan lay on a smooth platform, thinking about the day. Humans are special, he thought, not because we're the strongest or the smartest, but because we adapt, we survive, we find ways to make things work, even here, on an alien world. Lyra floated nearby, observing him quietly. Human, tomorrow we begin. Deeper study, more touch, more interaction. You will help us. Save our species. Ethan raised an eyebrow. Save your species? That sounds important. But I'm just a human. Lyra's expression was solemn. No, you are more than that. You are human. That is enough. Ethan smiled faintly, the weight of her words settling in. Humans were not ordinary. Even in a world so strange, with technology that defied his understanding and biology that reacted in impossible ways, humans had something that mattered: resilience, intelligence, and the ability to inspire. And as he drifted to sleep under the glowing canopy of Zithera, he felt a quiet thrill. The journey ahead would not just test his science, it would test humanity itself. How far could humans adapt? How much could they teach? How deeply could they inspire a species struggling to survive? One thing was certain. Humans were not just visitors in the galaxy. They were catalysts, problem solvers, and a spark that could ignite life itself. And somewhere deep inside him, Ethan couldn't help but think, with a small smile, well, apparently my biology is more interesting than I thought. Guess humans really do have a way of surprising everyone, even aliens.